Another board meeting after this.
Okay.
Oh,
Pro rodeo board meeting.
So we're good to go?
I'll leave that there.
Go ahead. I'll touch it.
Mike, will you take minutes or?
Yeah, I can take minutes.
You will, okay,
Okay, so I don't have to no more.
or if you can, yeah, that'll be good, yeah, whatever.
I keep trying to get him to you, but you never respond back, so it's like, okay.
I think I did, I already had the minutes
Okay.
ready, so.
Okay, you wanted to, would you?
Yeah, that's
prefer to
fine,
take-
what I
okay.
do.
Oh, perfect. I won't take any, I won't create any, no.
You can take minutes too, I'll probably miss something.
I'll take notes anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order at 4:24. And then I will do roll call, so Sherry,
Here,
Perla here. Lila here. Myself in here. Vicky here, and then I know Terry and, Mike's here, stay for this. Terry and Sis said they need an excuse absence. Somebody want a motion?
a motion to give him an excuse.
Second.
So motion by Sherry and second by Mike. Okay, on our active agenda for the first, we have full opening discussion.
So I've got Mitch here to talk a little bit about the logistics. I know the pump was a big topic of discussion and just some clarification, because it wasn't a full pump that was needed to be replaced at this point, right? But
No, we put a new pump in last year.
yeah, so that's, and because some people were asking me, so are you putting in a new pump this year again?
You're doing the chlorination system.
Yeah.
Right, so
It's all installed.
so yeah, so Mitch, talk a little bit about that and kind of where we're at in the process, and then also we can give an update on lifeguards and kind of where we're at with that, the number of applications, and so you've got the floor.
Okay, we've got a new chlorination system that we got it 50% off because we had to have it installed at a certain time. It's just a newer, the old one was there when I started, so it's got a lot of years on it. Pieces would get brittle and it's all installed, saves $3,000 doing it ourselves. So,
But it's not the system that he put in does not require a pump. It works off the pressure from the system going through the tablet container. Picks up the chlorine, sends it back out into the.
it has a, just a small pump that comes right off the main going into the pool, which cycles it through the chlorinator. Yeah. And that's all rebuilt brand new. So we'll have pretty much a brand new system.
And then I think the other question Mike had was, last year you had a problem with the heater pump. And you replaced the motor last year, I believe.
The boiler,
Yes.
the boiler, yeah, we replaced the control panel.
Yeah.
And it was working when we shut it off. We can't test it until the pool's full.
Right, but I know it was down, cause you
Yeah.
guys had somebody at the Apple come in.
Yep, yes,
So, but
that
so
all
right
got
now,
repaired.
we're
Yeah.
hopefully set to do
Yeah.
that. Okay.
And then we went through and did a safety walk, so we built a cage over the 70 horsepower.
Off of the motor, yeah. Yeah.
So we've gone through the facility trying to check off safety situations because we know that maybe a lot of people go in there, so we wanna
Right,
improve the safety of that.
And the filters should be here Friday.
And one thing I wanted to let the group know, so we've been doing quite a bit of lobbying this year, so in the capital budget has been earmarked a little bit more than $500,000 for upgrades to the pool. So we're crossing our fingers and hoping that comes to fruition. So it's got to go through a few other rounds, but so it's passed the House and Senate, and our legislators, I should say, from across this region did a great job when we met with them. And And so really grateful to all of them. So we just have to kind of wait to see, the session goes in another couple weeks. And it's basically wait and see mode, so they go into these financial committees and the Republicans, Democrats hash it out and then ultimately just cross our fingers. We may not get the full 500,000, but I'm hoping we get close to it. I think whatever we get is gonna be a good thing, but great work by the counselors who, really worked hard with the legislators from across the region. And then we've got a couple other things in the queue. We have $300,000 upgrades for the gazebo area, which could add like a stage, just basic upgrades, lighting to that area. Then we also have $500,000 in the queue, 515,000 for Tina Knopf Park to do soccer upgrades. So it's in total 1.3 million. So again, it's been a team effort between council members, legislators, myself, staff. So yeah, feel proud that we got to this point, because it really took a lot of work, and even the lobbyist group were working, I was like, man, you guys are doing pretty good this year for your first time going in and asking for capital budget items. So, but and it's all really parks oriented, so really excited about the possibilities.
Do you know what you're gonna do to the pool to upgrade it?
That remains to be seen, and that's where I'd lean on Mitch and the group to kind of prioritize with. I think it would be a combination of like, how can we fix the infrastructure / how can we make it a better experience for the swim team, and maybe add some stands and do covered shades. Cause I think that's one of the things I'm recognizing is lacking some amenities that we need. And I think that's where the Parks Board can be instrumental in, how do we make like a swim competition, like a good experience for people, so you're not in the sun dying, and there's shaded covers and there's areas that we can congregate, and maybe a locker room upgrade, so the possibilities are endless, and I think they'll leave that in our hands to come up with a game plan. So yeah, but I'm so excited when Gloria Mendoza called, and really a lot of credit to Gloria and Randy. She's been a rock star. Senator Curtis, Senator Torres, forgetting a few people. But anyhow, so forgive me if I forget anybody, but just really everybody from the 14th and 15th has just been awesome to work with. But in particular, Gloria, who's just been really battling for Sunnyside, so which is great. So props to our neighbors, and appreciate her work.
So the bathrooms, have you walked through there to make sure that? Cause I know last year I think you fixed them, but there were some stall doors that didn't have a latch.
Yeah.
So that's all, and all the
leaks are
toilets,
fixed.
everything looks
Yeah.
good.
We have the bathrooms, we had to energize the bathroom to open them up, so we walk through it.
Good.
We might have a gasket down for our toilet flushes or something.
Yeah,
we can
but
fix that.
overall, it's
Overall,
all-
we don't have no splits this year.
Yeah,
In the
just
walls.
don't wanna wait until it's time to open and then it's like,
Yeah.
we got issues with the bathrooms.
I know, Mike, you go to like the different swim meets, so I mean, if we take notes to see
Oh, I do.
maybe
Yeah,
what
Yeah.
other parks or pools have that we can bring, cause I don't go to the swim meet, so I wouldn't know. But when we go for like wrestling or any at soccer, like we see like, ooh, they have that and this, that would be cool to bring to Sunnyside, or if we
Sure.
have that would make it better. So that'd be kind of cool if we can,
I travel,
you travel so you would know, like,
yeah,
they have this there, that was really convenient for parents, or
yeah.
you here when you're in school.
Othello's got it, well, they don't have a pool anymore, but when they did have it, they had beautiful, they have shady gazebos. Sela has a nice setup, their inside is just tremendously beautiful inside, and so. But there is a lot of different areas that have shade for either, people that are at the park or in, around the pool and that stuff, like on the stands, come out with some type of a shaded awning, so when they sit there, they're not got a, red head in the morning, cause it's they got burned, but yeah, I can keep my eyes on it.
Okay, item B is,
Wait,
oh, sorry,
just finish with the pool operations, please. Who's handling the lifeguards and, I mean, I haven't seen any advertisement on lifeguards that we're hiring them, other than on Facebook.
Yeah, great segue, so, that's something Victoria's here has been handling with HR. So I know we had 14 applications come in, but I don't wanna steal your thunder.
Oh, no, you're fine, sir. So as of right now, I do have 14 physical applications. I have 4 resumes that have been sent to me, 3 for sure certified lifeguards. Just got the go ahead today with Mr. Irving. We're going to be setting up interviews to get our lifeguards on, and so that we were able to get the certified trainer to come out and do the training for them as well.
how many more do you need?
Mr. Brown is looking through his emails, because I know that we've been having a little bit of an issue with our Civics Plus with pushing the emails through. They were going somewhere else for a little bit. I wanna say we're wanting to go to 25. I believe is what the number I saw, and we're gonna be touching base again on that tomorrow.
So 25 to be on payroll.
Yes,
No, it's not, if you stop and think of all the hours, because if we're just doing open swim, which is 1 to 5 or 1 to 7, you got 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours. If we do morning swim, if we do lessons, you're looking at a 12-hour day or more, so,
And they're there for swim team too.
yeah.
It's kind of ironic, they're on swim team that have lifeguard.
But you never know.
I know,
Somebody else
there's kids that hang on the
Yeah.
rope learning to swim. I've seen a
I
lot
did
of
ask that question.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so
Can't say for
Mitch is
yourself.
handling all of this, or are we getting him some help to maintain and handle the pool schedule and the lifeguards?
That's a good question, and that's something that I haven't gotten to that point yet. I don't know if you guys have talked about that at all.
Mitch and I have talked about it, we need to provide him with somebody to as a pool supervisor, because as I shared with Mitch, if he has an emergency in the park, emergency in the pool, it's he's only gonna be 50%, he's either gonna fail over here, or he's gonna fail up in this area. So we're looking at once the applications all come in, is there somebody that was there last year that can run that? Do we need to advertise for that position? But our intent is to get us.
I personally think you should advertise for someone who can supervise the pool and the lifeguards. It's a full-time temporary position, it's a seasonal worker.
Yeah.
So there's no union in there and whatever, but then it helps Public Works, I mean, you guys, this whole city's got a lot going on. And if we can get some help in, I think that would make it a better success.
Yeah, and there are some union issues because of the staff was let go that we're trying to work through. I can't negotiate in public, but because we let the staff go, if we replace part-time labor, we may have to offer folks that we let go those positions. So we're trying to figure out with the bargaining with the Teamsters how that's gonna work. Because the problem is if we just go, oh, there's a part-time position, then it looks like we've replaced full-time labor with part-time labor.
Well,
So there are some complicated issues with that.
but you're talking positions that closed was strictly full-time out of the community center, if we're gonna take it in
Right.
one box. But we're talking about part-time for lawn mowing and all this other stuff, so that should be two.
Yeah,
separate
and that's a separate bucket, but the issue that I'm learning about is because staff at the community center manage the schedules and everything, so it was a part of what they were doing out there.
The supervisor,
So, yeah.
the supervisor that manages the community center also manages the pool staff.
Right,
And that's what he's getting at, they weren't laborers, they don't supervisors.
Right,
And even though it's gonna be a part-time job, they have the first right of refusal.
and maybe we should just keep it in-house. Somebody can, you know, try to run the pool instead of advertising that, because I can understand where you guys are gonna get into a jam. But, you know, it's just that I don't think we want the people that got let go will work for the amount of money that we're gonna offer part-time people.
Right.
So that's one, but
Sure.
for me, I think it's two different things, and I don't see where the Teamsters or the union will.
I hope not. But we're working through it, so we should have more clarity on that piece, cause I agree, I don't think Mitch. Should be tasked with, you know, that it's too many moving parts, not that he couldn't handle it, but it would be, you know. He's gotta handle other things more
Right,
efficiently.
right.
So one thing on lifeguards, last year, there was so much glass. Breaking over on the west end of by those bleacher stands. But we were told by the manager at that time from the community centers that the lifeguards aren't allowed to go on the outside of the building and pick up garbage or pick up glass. Is that something that is against their contract, or, I mean,
We should pick up on the outside.
because there's
I
been a lot
mean,
of times.
it's always been the lifeguards took care of the deck.
The deck, but now I'm talking.
It shouldn't go that, if there's glass out there, I mean, my guy's picking up trash every morning.
Yeah.
They can't walk every piece of that part,
I understand,
you know.
but I know we
So-
had a lot of garbage and a lot of glass, and I was told the lifeguards can't touch that. So I was gonna bring my own
They
room
shouldn't,
and start
they
speaking,
shouldn't.
but,
They should.
so I just wanna make sure.
Let
that
us take care of the glass, if
Sorry.
there's glass.
When we do hire lifeguards, make sure on the outline of what their his duties, so I don't want them to think, well, we can't go out there and do that, that's not our job. We think it would be, because to help you guys out, because I say the garbage could be there, and that's, you guys have gone home. And the pool's still open, but the garbage is still there, so why can't somebody from there just come
I
and
could,
pick it
I
up?
could see, maybe the trash with the glass should be the maintenance staff, so the.
Yeah.
Look at themselves.
So if there's a swing meet going on and it's,
So they should call before the swim meet, because if the swim meet is going on and now you're barely discovering the glass.
what time do you guys go home?
5.
5?
He's on call though 24/7, so just.
Because a lot of times is we really get to it, and it's
We're
already
just like, thanks.
after 5. So it's kind of,
If it's a swim meet that you're talking about, there isn't any reason why staff can't make a loop. The night of the
it's just before they go home, they.
Yeah, cause when we pick up stuff in the morning, we don't go back every 15-20 minutes, you know.
Right, no.
And there's how many homeless people in the park,
I know.
and they,
But we can make a run.
Yeah.
The night of.
So one last deal on the pool. So it's definitely gonna be open, right? Cause Sunnyside Lions and Sunnyside Peace Foundation, we have put in an application to rent the pool for the 4th of July. And we want it for 5 hours and do 2 sessions and make it free to the public. We will also purchase wristbands because we know that only 250 people can be in there. So we have one color for one session, another color for a second session, so that way numbers don't get
So it's,
messed up.
so July 4th Lions wants to run it
Yeah, I already put the application in,
5 hours.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific time you want?
12:30 to 5:30 PM. First swim session, 1 to 2:45. Second session, 3:15 to 5 PM. That way it gives the lifeguards a 30-minute break in there, which is, I know is has to have by law. They have to have that 15-20 minute break or lunch break for 30 minutes. That gives them that. And then it also gives time for, we can go in, Lions or the Police Foundation can go in as volunteers, at least 5 of us to go help, watch and clean and make sure things go good.
And the idea is to let kids in free during the summer.
The whole free, 250 at a time.
What day is it on?
The 4th of July.
It falls on a Friday.
Mike is a kid. Yeah, it is on a Friday.
Is that everything for the pool discussion?
I think so.
Okay, our next is community center discussion.
So the community center, I mean, we're not much different than where we're at last time, other than, you know, we're still renting it. I think one of the discussions has been, we do have a part-time employee that's currently working at City Hall that was moved from the community center. That we are trying to work to get her back there if possible, you know, but again, some of the union issues that I discussed earlier, the right of first refusals, because you know, the Teamster stuff gets a little complicated, so we're trying to work through that. Because there definitely is there's a need to be out there, and of course, a desire on our part. So one of the things I'm in the works with is we just hired a group to help us with the marketing of the facility through the use of LTAC dollars. So that's something that this month we're gonna start shooting videos and then building an actual separate community center website that has pictures, videos, an easier way to rent the facility, see the calendar. So for me, it's been frustrating, just we haven't used it effectively over the years or much as it should, and then it's not really easy to find it on our website, and once you get there, it's a little clunky. So we finally have hired some really good professionals to help us market and you know, find marketing opportunities for us, but you know, that can be a facility that we do that. So fundamentally, I can't say that there's a lot different other than, you know, Victoria Gonzalez is here now and the rentals are going through her. And I'll say we've been able to utilize the community center more in a partnership atmosphere recently, so it's been well used. We had YCBA in there for like an economic development, almost like a job fair type situation. We also had the Central Washington Hispanic Chamber utilize it. And I was able to, you know, partner with them to utilize that, and I vetted it through our legal team too, because I think there was a narrative, or at least a thought, that everybody has to rent it for like a premium price, but the interpretation I got was if it serves a community purpose, whether it's, you know, education for kids or job creation, economic development, and the city wants to be a part of the messaging, or you know, a part of the event, that you know, we can allow nonprofits to utilize that. And you know, my thinking as city manager, and I've gotten support from council also, is like, let's utilize it and not let it collect cobwebs. if you know, and the Hispanic Chamber was well attended, the other events, so that's something now where I can't flex. If anybody's watching in the public, you know, we got a boda, quinceañera, I can't, that's not a public, you know, that's a private event that, you know, so there's those type of things. And I do have some like media, something that's coming up in the future is, we are working with a radio station that's gonna put on a, oh gosh, I don't know how you can explain it, like the princesses. And we are able to do,
Oh, it's like Princess
yeah,
for a day. 'Cause it's all
public-private
like-
partnership, because they're giving us free advertising to the deal that we made with them was help promote that this is for rent, and that we, you know, you can do your quinceañeras, your bodas, you know, your events, you know, in order to be a primary sponsor, if you will, or supporter of the event. So I'm trying to be as creative as I can to keep the facility active and, you know, positive, and let the community know it's still available. and staff's been great, like in terms of setting up microphones and, you know, utilizing not after hours, but during hours, so we don't have to use overtime, so. You know, that's a commitment I'm trying to make to the community as far as making sure that facility stays active. But, you know, I'm excited, I'll close kind of, I'm excited to work with the marketing group to really promote that facility, so perhaps we can start attracting regional events like conferences and work with the hotel to kind of do some of those things. I just had a gentleman approach me, that was an old colleague of mine when I was in economic development. Sam Bradford is his name, he's born and raised in Sunnyside. He wants to do sort of like a Latino leadership conference here. And, you know, bring some keynote speakers and, you know, bring some prominent folks in business that have Hispanic blood and kind of make it really youth focused and things like that, so. We're getting some interest like that, and you know, if the city can be a part of positivity and you know, keeping that thing active. I think there is a, you know, a certain component to make money with like weddings and quinceañeras and all those things, but we haven't seen a ton of, Victoria, I haven't seen a ton of like in the summer, I want my wedding there.
We haven't had any requests for that yet.
No, and I think part of that, there's been community confusion as to, can I have alcohol there? You know, what can I do, you know, so some people are like, you can't have alcohol, but we can, we
They
do.
have to get a permit, right?
Right, you have to get your permit and then,
Your
Excuse me,
security.
sir, in regards to that, it's one of those things where it needs to be a little bit more user friendly. As
Right.
far as the process, you have your rental agreement application that you fill out. And then a part of that, you have to go online, you have to apply for a
Yeah.
permit, everything is done that way when it comes to alcohol permit, capacity permit, things of that sort. So that, I think it kind of steers people the wrong way a little bit, so if there's a way to simplify it and maybe
Right.
do everything online or have the option of just going how, you know, go to the health department or whatever and get your permit for whatever you gotta get it for. Things
Well,
like that might
basically,
help.
they only have to get, if they're having liquor, they just need a liquor license.
Yeah, or banquet permit, things of that sort.
I was told they don't have to do that.
A banquet permit, if they're gonna have an event when there's food, they have to have,
Mhm.
they have to, if there's being provided food handlers cards have to be a part of it, things like that, because it is a community center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's because of the location.
And that's for weddings too?
That's when it's, I wanna say on OpenGov, that's kind of how it's
Okay.
listed, it's versed that way.
and then we had a bit of a hiccup for a minute because Eagles somehow had our liquor license. We had their address listed on our liquor license somehow, so we had to untwist that, so that, I don't know how that happened. I don't know if it was I don't know, it just, so we had to fix that, so that was a little snafu. So yeah, but it's definitely a work in progress, but I will say on the positive side, definitely been utilizing it more, even we have the cannabis meeting tonight. If you wanna tell community members, and we're gonna do a series of 3, I kind of threw this one on everybody real quick, but I just wanted to get the ball rolling, and you know, sometimes I was intending it for it to be later this month, but I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's just do it and rip the Band-Aid off and get it going. This afternoon's was pretty well attended, and I anticipate it's gonna be a big crowd tonight for sure. But yeah, this
Because
will
more
be,
people know about, because they're passing out.
yeah, so this will be the first of 3, just kind of, you know, pivoting to another subject.
I think you just need to put it back out to the voters and let them say yay or nay.
So for staffing at the community center, could you use volunteers?
I mean, we certainly could, you know how it is, Mike, volunteers.
Oh, I know, but
Yeah, I mean, we could, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, the only thing necessary is really to go through the background check and. Cause this is something I talked to Ben about before he left. It's because there was kind of like this thinking, we could use volunteers out there, I'm like, why? I don't know, it's just, that's what I was told, right? So.
they always said it was insurance.
Right, you know, there is some of that element, but if you're vetted and you come up clean and you know, you're willing to give some time, you definitely could. And so that is an option.
Cause I mean, that would help save payroll if you don't have to put, I mean, and what are they gonna do? When they're not doing any baseball, they're not doing
Right.
soccer, they're just waiting for somebody to come and wanna look at the facility or rent it.
Right.
So you're kind of like paying somebody just to,
And one thing, Council Ripley and I went over to the Prosser Boys and Girls Club yesterday, which is just an unbelievable facility. You're like, I mean,
have
it's-
they moved into the high school already?
yeah, it's all repurposed and the executive director, Brian Ace, he toured recently the community center, which he really likes. He likes it as turnkey if we got to that point where we started a club, but Councilor Ripley, what's your thoughts? It was just amazing.
It was amazing. I'd really like to have one in Sunnyside, but what'd it take?
15
15 years to get that going. They started small. And it's even free to go there, which
Yeah.
really shocked me. But Prosser, I guess a lot of the people in Prosser donate towards that. You
And
call it
that's-
donate or?
Yeah, so they had like 4 million in seed money from some serious donors and then they went on a capital campaign and then their yearly budget's probably around 400,000, so which is all, they go on a capital campaign for both operational and, some capital stuff. But they were really adept at the way they raise money, so.
Well, it's like the lady at the forum this afternoon said, Prosser, the people come together more. And they're more willing to work and volunteer, and they've got committees that go around, paint the ponies, and they do this, they do the cleanup and all that. We really don't have that.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, it's, and I've talked to folks from Prosser. It's a little bit easier to navigate because they're smaller and, people have a tendency to go like, why aren't we like Prosser? When you have 17,000, probably more, I mean, if we're honest with ourselves and the dynamics of our community, we're probably well over 20,000. So I think dynamically, we're different than Prosser.
Yeah, it's just like when I brought up to you about Zilla and they're putting in the dog
Yeah.
park and this big splash pad and all that. All the grants that they're getting they're a much smaller community than
Right,
we
so
are.
it's much more manageable,
Yeah.
You look at a community like Zilla, it's 3,500 people, it's a bedroom community. The median income's really high, people are coming in from, Yakima that are high wage earners. It's a different dynamic, I think educationally, I can tell you, and median income is just. And it's no excuse, but,
When you're a smaller community like that, it's
yeah,
small cities that count, and there isn't as many small cities that can afford the mats to apply for those grants. So that's why if you have somebody like Zoe that has a little income, they can hit a home run if they want.
Yeah,
Once you get over 10,000 population, it becomes really challenging.
I remember when Sunnyside was under 10.
What year was that?
Granny was really successful with a lot of grants when we were under 10,000. Once we get above 10,000, we weren't eligible for USDA, we weren't eligible for some of these other ones, so it limits what you can apply.
Right.
yeah, so, but still not taking anything away from Prosser and Zilla, I mean. It's just more challenging for us.
Especially at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something to look forward to in the
Yeah,
future.
absolutely.
Keep it in mind and think of ways to do it.
Well, and I think that was a good message was don't think like this. We started in an 1,800 square foot building. And here
With
we-
just
Yeah,
the younger kids.
right,
And now they're doing every grade and it's a structured
yeah. it
It's
was
a
amazing.
structured thing. They've got a room there for videos, for video
Yeah,
games.
Video gaming,
And it was really,
super impressive.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really impressive and they had every age group up to high school, but anyhow, so that's I know we talked about it, but that's my community center.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on it?
I'd like to make a motion that we table items D and E because of time frame. It's already 4:58, and we need to be out of here by 5:10.
What's the?
Yeah, what's the,
Soccer master plan and surf soccer
oh, I
program.
have an old agenda there.
Yeah, they're not on the agenda.
Oh.
They don't have that. Here's
I'm like, what are you making?
Hello, I got, what's today, Wednesday, I got this on Monday.
Well, and I can get you up to date a little bit on the soccer master plan. And Damien sends his regrets. So, and this is something, gosh, that I feel like I've been kind of working towards this since the day I walked in with the desire for soccer and kind of economic development. So we did identify funding mechanism, which was REAP one funding. So, you know, before Derek left, we did determine with Ben that we were able to support the soccer master plan with what's called REET one funding. So, yeah, REAP funding it's called, so. And the way you're able to utilize REAP funding is if it is in your and Tuss could probably help me out with this a little bit, if it's in your capital improvement plan. And parts of it, like because soccer fields and parks and recreation are part of our capital improvement plan. You're able to use these funds for planning purposes, just for very specific purposes like planning towards a goal. So I feel fortunate we're able to do that because we couldn't have done it out of the general fund. So this allows us to do this up to 9-month study. He'll be very hands-on with this group and through the process. So that was kind of the first step. So then it was just kind of getting that okayed and figure out where we can pay for this. The next step will be, he's gonna have to meet with the Parks Board, really get your guys' vision. Some of the needs you wanna see out of soccer. And from my perspective, how do we develop money? How does soccer generate dollars for the city? Through hotels, through food, through can we build soccer parks if we can't get a developer to come out to Munson? Do we create that? So I think everything's really on the table. The other thing I was really excited about was. We can look at the old skate center, what's gonna be the cost to convert that into an indoor facility? How do we take that, not only make it a soccer facility, but maybe a place that we can hold, a boat show or, those kind of.
Use it for something else also.
Yeah, it could be a multi-purpose soccer facility, so this plan will give us the ability to look at all those things. And so I'm super excited about it, and I hope this group is, and because I truly believe soccer can be like a true mechanism to help the community grow and bring recreation.
So
Bring it together.
you brought up Munson, what happened to the for sale sign out, or signs out there? Did we sell or?
No, did they blow away maybe? I know we had some windy.
They're gone, they're not there.
Okay, yeah, let me check on that, cause we do have a listing agent, NAI, that's currently helping market the property. We just did get an appraisal. It appraised for 3 million. We did a residential appraisal, so it's for sale. Anybody wanna buy it, it's for sale. So, and something I'm gonna ask the council. And we're actually it's gonna be on the agenda Monday night, because we talked about the Economic Development Commission, and Councilor Vasquez asked to bring that forward because there's some new developments with it. But anyhow, based on what we're seeing in the market and talking to our real estate agents, we may go to council and say, hey, would you flex on the price? And we'll have to get some legal interpretations too, so it's not gifting of public funds. For economic development purposes, if someone comes along and says, hey, here's 2 million. We're gonna promise to build houses on here, would you sell it to us? And I think we're at the point as a city is that's kind of where we're at. We may, for economic development purposes, council, we're gonna ask them perhaps. What's the threshold so we can get something going in Sunnyside, because it's gonna, the water table out there is high. gonna have to do road improvements. We do have wells, but it's gonna take some investment from a developer. You know, we're committed to go out and get seed grants. I know, Cuss is, we're gonna be on the docket more than likely in July. For seed grant, application to bring in infrastructure. The only caveat with a seed grant is you have to have. Somebody that's gonna create jobs for you, whether it's a gas station or a retail center. Anything you wanna add, Cuss, in terms of?
Yeah, no, it needs to be a entity that will create jobs in order to be able, residential construction will not get us any place to be successful, so. We did talk to one developer and he was proposing housing, commercial and light industrial. And that would be ideal for the application to the seed fund. We need to reach out to him, but we've been kind of waiting to see what council's direction is because he was one that had offered some money before we listed it. And I thought it was a good offer, but council wanted more money. And we don't want to reach out to him if council isn't flexible on the price because it would kind of be, it's like an insult to be paying one the third and not letting them take it.
Right,
And I think the other thing, I wanted to get the appraisal in hand, it takes a long time to get those. So we actually had something official, because the one thing that we don't wanna do as a city is start selling land without an appraisal. Because then it gives you, clarity on what the value is, so yeah, but tune in Monday night, we're gonna talk about it a little bit more, and give the council kind of an update on where we're at with that. Because because we've made a lot of progress this year, like as far as getting ourselves in a much better position to sell the property. To where we were kind of like, what's the value? I don't know, how did it get to the value? Who knows? It was,
Yeah.
there was a lot of like gray area.
Hmm.
We bought it with the purpose years ago to remove the smell and maybe develop it, so. I think we're in a good position right now.
it's 5:05, guys.
Can I add one real quick? At the last meeting, you had asked about a push button solenoid for the splash pad. And Monday I met with engineers because we're doing an irrigation upgrade of that entire park. So as part of that park, I asked if they would include the solenoid button to community when they respond that. Thank you. So that'll be part of the.
Good.
Thank you.
He listens.
He's very efficient.
We'll have to take that off irrigation water and put it on city water.
Right,
So
Yeah.
we gotta replumb it anyway, so that's the time to put it in.
so thank you. Thank you, well, thank you.
I just have one thing, April 15th at 6:30 in Central Park, the Sunnyside Poor and their parents are going to reveal their float. If you guys wanna come out, we'll have cupcakes and cookies and juice and water for the kids. So
Where was that gonna be?
to Central Park,
Central.
see all our work.
What time was it?
At 6:30?
The sunset float.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah,
community folks.
you sent me.
So with that, we will adjourn the meeting.
Schedule for
Let's schedule a meeting for next month.
Now, on our meetings, there's some things that, we meet once a month.
Mhm.
And if it has anything to do with like a pool or something, is it possible, can we have more than just one meeting?
Oh, absolutely, if we could have special meetings, cause I know. We have this one baked in meeting per month, and then I know our council meetings are set by ordinance. Which I don't believe these are, so they're a little bit more flexible. So we certainly could meet. But we do wanna notice it just for public perception purposes, and. The one thing I was thinking, like, I'd like to get this group together pretty soon to meet Damien and kind of get that process going. And
So we could do another special meeting
yes,
sometime towards the end of April, maybe.
yeah, and I'm thinking maybe even earlier than that, Sherry, to. Let me just look at the calendar. And I'm thinking as early as next week if possible, maybe a Zoom would be would a Zoom be easier for everybody? Like if we kind of corral the Zoom meeting,
Yeah, but then sometimes people can't get the connection and
Yeah.
stuff. And then
I mean, I think it would be better in person.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Let me do this, let me check with Damien's schedule and I can work with Amy and get. Cause I really wanna get that going and just get that ball
So
rolling.
we're looking at April,
April 15th or 16th, I know you got a lot going on.
Can we do the 17th? What about the 17th?
17th is a good day for me in the afternoon for sure,
probably for me too, because of
Yeah.
Tuesday.
yeah. So yeah, I'm
Seventeenth will work for
Yeah.
in
I'm
the
wide
afternoon.
open on the 17th, everybody good with that? And,
Yeah.
I'll check with his schedule. Do
Is
we
that
wanna,
Thursday?
Yes,
do we wanna do 4:15?
Yeah, 4.
four is fine.
You wanna do 4?
Yeah, it's just when we do these meetings on a Wednesday, the second Wednesday of the month, or the second Thursday of the month. I have people at the center, I have to go take.
Is our regular meetings going back to Thursday, the first
I
Thursday of
hope
every month?
so.
Yeah, I think so, just cause we were, like Mike was out of town
Okay.
and then we had like things, so that's why we were switching.
Okay,
4 P.M. on the 17th would be great.
Yeah, so I put that and I'll cross my fingers that Damien is available.
Okay.
And we'll get the ball rolling on that.
So do you guys wanna schedule for the May one?
yes.
So the first Thursday would be May 1st.
For me,
Does that work for everybody?
That is my senior night for track, but
Okay,
Okay, May 1st?
we'll do May 1st.
4 o'clock or,
That's fine.
4 P.M., yeah.
That's everything, the meeting is adjourned at 5:10.
Thank you so much, Jess.
I was gonna say Jackie was in here trying to push us out, and Louis and it's Emily.
Make it a little hard.
You didn't even turn around. Look,
You know, it is
So
a
I
fact.
can